There are two types of environments, external and internal. The external environment is the outside world, filled with its problems and attachments. The internal environment is made up of a person's personality, which includes impulses, desires, emotions, thoughts, and ideals. A person's life is affected by both these internal and external factors, which often clash and are rarely under control. It's usually not possible for an average person to control their external world. However, they can learn to manage their inner impulses, which can help them feel less pressure from the outside. Many great philosophies teach that mastering oneself is more important than conquering the world. This idea might sound simple, but it holds a deep spiritual truth that will become clearer as you continue your studies. A person's internal environment is still not fully controlled by their will and awareness, making it unpredictable. The flaws in this lower self block the flow of energy from the spiritual side. The goal of self-discipline is to organize and improve the lower self so it doesn't hinder spiritual growth. In Taoism, it's said that a person stands in their own light, meaning that who they are blocks them from reaching their desires. What we are stops us from becoming who we want to be. By applying discipline to our thoughts and actions, a student can move aside and make progress. Another major issue besides who we are is what we have. Possessions can lead to possessiveness or fear, both of which create worry. A worried person is often focused on their own problems and has little room to think about spiritual truths. There's an old Chinese drawing of a man carrying a huge sack of wealth on his back. The bag is so big that he can't see where he's going or where he came from, and while he feels proud of his possessions, he is about to step off a cliff. A rich person has external wealth that can easily vanish. Similarly, a proud person has internal wealth, feeling important, but also weighed down by it. Anything we possess, even just a high opinion of ourselves, can slow our progress. The heaviest burden is self-pride. While a person can give away their material possessions, it takes years of discipline to let go of the vanity that comes from thinking too highly of oneself. A wise person doesn't seek after wealth. Instead, they aim for peace and security, valuing contentment more than riches. A true student also doesn't chase after ego boosts, but seeks inner well-being, which is far more valuable than any treasure. They don't want to be better than others, realizing that greatness is relative and often an illusion. Therefore, the student focuses on understanding the law and its workings to gain wisdom. Don't feel discouraged if you face small challenges while trying to live a philosophical life. One major issue in Western life is interruptions. Truth seekers often encounter distractions that pull them away from their spiritual goals. These unexpected events test their focus. These external interruptions will keep coming as long as a person's inner life is negative compared to their surroundings. But when discipline helps make the inner life positive, those distractions will stop. Tibetan monks learn to meditate next to a loud bell. Over time, they can ignore the sound and detach themselves from material life. Life's distractions are actually important for spiritual training because they help build the student's focus and willpower. Because of this, it's not a good idea to hide away in a quiet place or escape from the world, as that can weaken a person's character and make them less able to handle stress later. When Socrates was asked where to start studying sacred knowledge, he replied, "Where you are." Many seekers talk about wanting to escape to a quiet place where they can only hear nature. However, I've noticed that these sensitive people often don't achieve anything in their lives or studies. It can be helpful to take a short break from society to recharge, but if you stay away too long, your character and integrity can suffer. Saint Simeon Stylites spent 40 years sitting on a column in the desert, pulling up his food with a bucket. This extreme lifestyle made him useless to everyone, including himself. While it's understandable to feel overwhelmed by life's stress, running away won't help you achieve anything. People in the West can grow spiritually while also being part of society. As Socrates said, the place to study is where you are. Also, remember that now is the best time. If you wait until you have time, you may never reach your goals. Even if you stay in society, you can still develop a negative attitude that ruins any benefits you might gain from experiences. Many metaphysicians can face facts, but then deny them with positive statements. We've all seen someone sneeze heavily while believing that illnesses are just an illusion, even though they didn't avoid sitting in a draft. And there's the elderly woman who kept drinking cups of coffee every morning, insisting that caffeine didn't affect her, even as she suffered from caffeine poisoning. There was also a person called God's perfect child, who grew up around empty sayings, yet became a nuisance in the neighborhood. Avoiding reality is just as harmful as running away. Many so-called metaphysicians could go on for 1,000 years without truly experiencing life because their beliefs stopped them from having those experiences. When metaphysics teaches that divine law is everywhere, you need to be careful not to turn this idea into a simple saying. Don't claim that everything is fine when it clearly isn't. Doing this is like convincing yourself of something that isn't true. When a small mind tries to grasp a big idea, confusion is bound to happen. Philosophy doesn't make wrong things right. Instead, it helps you understand the bigger reality that gives order to everything. True understanding must be based on enough knowledge. When you have enough knowledge, you won't need to keep making affirmations.